Hi, my name is Benedikt Zimmer from 4C Services, and with this video I want to introduce you to the new Business Partner Map, or BPM, template version 3.6, and the connection to the 4C portal. This video is in English, but we will also set up subtitles which can be enabled in the bottom right of the video player. The BPM template can be found on our website, and always use the most recent version. Link is in the video description. We have also prepared an example BPM, which I will use for the demonstration for certain features. It has intentionally been set up with some minor mistakes, which are highlighted and explained in detail inside the Excel sheet. The first worksheet of the template contains a written guidance, which will partially be covered in this video. Timestamps in the video description allow you to skip to a specific topic. First, I want to briefly explain the general idea of the BPM version 3.6 and the introduction of using the 4C portal. We consider the BPM as the definition of a 4C unit. The unit internal supply chain is described covering all business partners, from coffee producers through service providers to the managing entity, which is ultimately the certificate holder. The BPM, in form of an Excel sheet, serves only as a tool for data collection. The 4C portal takes the Excel file as an input and presents the user with a summary, coffee flow diagrams, some automatic analysis, and a map based on the geographic coordinates. Experienced 4C system users will notice that the summary section of previous BPM template versions seems to be gone, but it has only been shifted to the portal page. The file upload is available at any time and can be done independently of any ongoing audits or annual updates. To do so, you are required to log in with your 4C portal account. In case you are new to the 4C system and have not been given portal access yet, you can sign up with your email address yourself. Now, let's take a look at the Excel sheet. As I said earlier, we have some basic guide included inside the BPM as a reference. While there is a topical overlap of the guidance sheet and this video, we highly recommend that you thoroughly read the guidance sheet. On worksheet number 1, General Information, you can fill in Managing Entity Company Name, Responsible Person, 4C Unit Information, and the date of completion. As noted at the top, this is not required for the upload to the portal and only has the purpose of supporting you to keep record of this information inside the Excel sheet. This ensures that the circumstances of filling in the data can be understood by opening the file in isolation. In general, business partners can be split up in two main categories: service providers and coffee producers. The BPM template is set up according to this categorization. In some cases, there may be an overlap. For example, a producer is also operating a mill and offering this post-harvest processing service to other coffee producers of the unit. Managing entity and service providers must be listed in worksheet number 2. The first row is reserved for the managing entity, which by default is not a service provider. If, for example, the managing entity is also operating a warehouse, fill in a separate service provider row indicating this additional role. All columns are mandatory to be filled in. Validation column A helps you to keep track of that. If a service provider is operating at multiple locations, include an entry for each location. In this case, name and national ID must be identical. I will take a closer look at the coffee flow columns after discussing the producer worksheet. List each individual coffee producer of your 4C unit inside worksheet number 3, Producer. Same as before, all columns are mandatory to be filled in. Exceptions are marked in gray because they are calculated automatically. As we are now talking about producers, coffee production data instead of services must be entered. If a single producer has multiple farms, include an entry for each farm. Name and national ID must be identical for these entries. If a business partner is both a coffee producer and a service provider, they should be listed in both worksheets. Please be aware that the number of employees should then be considered for the service provider entry and the farm separately. A producer who is operating a mill for his own purposes only is not considered a service provider. The columns regarding coffee flow are a new feature of the BPM 3.6, which comes only into full effect by uploading the Excel file to the FOSSEE portal. Instead of drawing a coffee flow diagram yourself, it has to be defined directly in the Excel sheet. The portal will then connect producers and service providers and draw the diagrams accordingly. Let's see how this is done in detail. By default, the drop-down menu has all service providers and the managing entity listed by name, but you can also type in the national IDs instead. Of course, it's not always so simple, and a producer may deliver to multiple mills depending on capacity, for example. By using a semicolon as a delimiter to define multiple destinations, you can indicate this situation, and the portal will also draw the coffee flow diagram accordingly. This approach of defining the coffee flow has to be applied for both the physical flow as well as the commercial flow. The physical coffee flow describes which business partners are in physical contact with the coffee, and the commercial flow describes the change in ownership. For example, the producer physically delivers the coffee to a mill, but sells it directly to the trader. In this case, the mill has to be selected here and the trader here. Taking this situation into consideration, the commercial coffee flow column for service providers may be left blank because they might never gain ownership of the coffee. In a similar way, a trader without a storage facility may only trade without ever getting in physical contact with the coffee. This setup will later result in two different coffee flow diagrams on the portal. I also want to briefly touch the subject of geographic coordinates. While being very strict on formatting and coordinate system usage in the past, we now allow some variety and convert the provided information accordingly if possible. On the guidance sheet we have compiled a very comprehensive list of formats for geocoordinates supported by the portal at the time of recording this video. You can also see multiple variations used in the example BPM. The baseline is decimal degrees, which is just a decimal number between -90 and 90 or -180 and 180 for latitude and longitude respectively. Coordinates which would be considered text are converted before being stored in our database, as long as the formatting rules are followed. Degrees with minutes and seconds having 1 or 2 digits before decimal places. Indicators for north, east, south, west at the end of our coordinate. Leading zeros are allowed. Empty spaces are completely ignored and therefore allowed. We understand that users are copying information from their own system and data structures into the BPM. Converting geocoordinates was considered an annoying struggle. This implementation is a direct response to make your life easier. So let's take our filled-in BPM and upload it to the FOSSEE portal. As previously mentioned in the introduction, a login is required, but signing up is publicly available. BPM uploads can be done at any time and independent of any ongoing process. These uploads expire after a certain time of inactivity, indicated on the portal. Expiration means that the Excel file and all extracted information will be deleted from our database and the summary page will therefore become unavailable. Go to the upload page, select the file and press upload. Depending on the size of the unit, the procedure may take some time. You are redirected to the summary page, which compiles the results of a variety of tests. The summary section at the top gives you an overview of the FOSSEE unit, number of business partners, production, etc. The coffee flow diagrams are drawn based on the coffee flow columns described previously. We have implemented some basic checks for common errors, inconsistencies, and the availability of geocoordinates. The content is analyzed as well. Are yields in a reasonable range, or could there be a typo? Are national IDs following a certain format? Please note the used coloring scheme, indicating an error in red, which needs to be corrected, and a warning in yellow. The business partner, which is both a producer and a service provider, is highlighted to raise awareness on the double counting of the workers. In the same way, a farm with very low or very high yields is highlighted in the case you made a typo. In both cases, the FORSI portal cannot really decide if your information is entered correctly or not, and is therefore only highlighting it as a warning. In contrast to that, the two producer entries with different names but same national IDs are marked as an error in red and have to be corrected. Business partners with geo-coordinates are drawn on a map. Farm size in the BPM is converted into a circle of the respective area. The map allows you to easily visualize the coffee production area of the FORSI unit. Click on a marker to show additional information. We have also enabled the functionality to draw your own markers on this map, but please keep in mind that this is not saved in our database. You can use this to locate the farms of business partners and, for example, copy the coordinates into the Excel sheet. You can download the coordinates of producers converted into a KML file, which can be used in GIS software. Most importantly for auditors, the KML file can also be uploaded to the GRASS tool for risk assessment during the on-site audit preparation. With this, I want to end my demonstration of the BPM and the connection with the FORSI portal. As a final note, I want to emphasize that the setup of Excel sheet on one side and FORSI portal on the other allows us to further develop the provided features without the need to publish new template revisions. For assistance, please contact info@forsiservices.org and my colleagues or I will help you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and I hope you appreciate our effort to provide you with valuable tools to enhance your experience with the FORSI system.